Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of the deep dive training that will help nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and small business owners to develop that award-winning program, product, or service that's going to get you out of the route, to increase your return on investment, to attract those clients, to get you out of the hamster wheel, and the list goes on and on. Oftentimes, working with small business owners and nonprofits and entrepreneurs, or being a part of conferences or doing training at big corporations, it's kind of the same thing that we kind of run into and we kind of see, but just in different ways. And when there's a lack of a blueprint, a process, a system, or framework, people are all over the place. And I can attest to the power of a sales framework, process, blueprint, and system. That's not my area of expertise. However, when I decided to hire my mentor in sales, within a few short months, things were turned upside down. And it's not that I didn't understand that, I knew that, but what I'm not great in, what I wasn't great in was sales. But being able to work with a sales mentor that helped me to understand the process, develop my own framework, understand how to create my own blueprint. And it allowed me to really hone in and stepping outside the box where I wanted to go, but I was stuck. So when I'm working with clients, they're stuck. And it's not that they don't have a great idea. It's not that they may not know their targeted audience. It may not be that they don't have a value proposition in products or services, or that they may not have somewhat of a marketing plan, but it does lead to a lack of a lot of gaps in those areas, including building and growing their support team. So today is part 2 of my deep dive training. And before we get started, I want you to grab a pencil and piece of paper, open up that laptop to an Excel spreadsheet, not an Excel spreadsheet, but a Microsoft Word document. Grab your smartphone that's only smart, depending on how you use it. And on your smartphone, you can use your audio where you can repeat what I'm saying, or you can use your notes section where you can actually take notes and send it directly to your email. And if you have an Android, I can only guess because I'm team iPhone, I think you can download an app or Microsoft Word document or whatever. But nevertheless, guess what? It is time to go deep. So let me share my screen really quick. So if you're unfamiliar with who I am best known for being the expert or the creator of the It's Time to Go Deep, the 5-step formula to reach the urban market, to build communities, launch grassroots initiatives, and to scale your business. And so obviously, this short deep dive training is not going to introduce the 5 steps. However, I do want to capitalize on the training that I started a few weeks ago on step number 2, which is identifying your targeted audience. If you have not reviewed the first training that identified the first 4 steps, I want you to stop. I want you to go to my YouTube channel right now, which is www.youtube.com/Dr. Takiba Dorsey, and download that part 1 training if it's there. If not, I don't know, but let's pick up where we need to go. So the first 4 steps were already discussed. So I will do a quick recap. Step number 1 was research. Step number 2 was pilot program. Step number 3 was assessment. And step number 4 is evaluations. And so what I want to dive deep into right now for the small window of time that we do have is step number 5. And that is conducting a SWOT analysis. If you're unfamiliar with a SWOT analysis, SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so most organizations may do a SWOT analysis to understand or get a pulse on their business. You may do a SWOT analysis to get a pulse on the product. You may do a SWOT analysis to get a pulse on the service or program, but I say do it for all, including leadership in personnel. Because if you're going to build an award-winning program, product, or service, you want to ensure that you have the right people on your team. You want to be able to close those gaps. You want to ensure that your organization is ready and available to handle the volume that you're hoping to attract with a quality program. And you want to make sure that you have the right processes and systems in place to ensure that you don't miss a beat when it's time for you to now go to step number 2, which is identifying what best organizational structure type that will work for you when you're rolling out this pilot program for that new product, service, or program. So let me give you a little back history from where I come from, right? So when I first started out in my nonprofit, maybe about 7 years ago, and in training number 1, I talked about the research words that I identified in order to understand the competition and what was out there globally through the search engine optimization. We decided to focus on urban youth, the urban market, and the multi-sport industry. Sounds easy, right? Absolutely not. And guess why? Because there was not a model out there until I created it. And that model became an award-winning international model that allowed me to get a seat at the table, but I'll talk about that later. So anyway, when I first started out in right about 2014, 2015, from a nonprofit standpoint, I was working in a multi-sport industry with urban youth in an urban market, urban community, and all of that, urban. However, obviously I knew, being able to identify my target audience, that I couldn't go everywhere, right? Because everywhere did not contain my target audience. So what I did do, what I did know from my previous years in business and nonprofit and for-profit, I went directly to the organizational type that best fit what we were trying, who we needed to work with. And that was an organization that had youth as a part of it. So that first summer, we partnered with a local recreation center right in the heart of Baltimore City, introduced steps 1 through 5, ensured that we partnered up with the right organization, and boom, it was an automatic hit. All of the check boxes of our SMART goals, our objectives, our milestones were all checked off. But oftentimes in business, nonprofits and small businesses and entrepreneurs fail to do the work. They fail to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so when they get to step 6, it's not a great match. It's time to get over that, because in order for you to scale a business, launch grassroots initiatives, and build community relationships, you have to do the research to ensure that you're choosing the best organizational type. And then when you get to step 7, that contractual agreement, then you know that you're on your way to have a dynamic system, blueprint, process, and framework in place that is undeniable. So here's the thing about contractual agreements, or MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding. Never, ever, did I say never, ever do business through word of mouth, ever. Because when it comes down to the bottom line, a contractual agreement or memorandum of understanding clearly delineates who you are, what you're doing, what you're bringing to the table. And whoever is on the other side of that table, or the leadership on that side, must also be bringing something to the table. Resources, marketing, personnel, money, whatever the case may be. And when the two align, you are on your way to success. And that leads into step number 8. Step number 8 is even more crucial than step number 1, because now you've gone through steps 1 through 7. You've done everything you needed to do, but now it's no longer about you. Not that it was ever about you in the beginning, because you're the person that's trying to make an impact, but you're trying to bring people in on your team. And when you're able to understand that, then you know you have the right mindset. But oftentimes I've seen, and I've been a witness or I've been in that seat, whereas though I went in there in my earlier days and not understand the power of on-site training. So as that small business owner that's doing consultant training, or an entrepreneur that's looking for a collaboration, or that nonprofit that's looking to implement a program, on-site training is crucial. And let me give you an example why. So when we rolled out our program with this Baltimore City rec program a few years ago, we went in with a plan that we knew that would be successful if all of the eggs, all of the ducks and eggs were in a row. However, it wasn't. And so on the day of implementation and execution for the second time, because so it was an Overcoming Childhood Obesity through Multidisciplinary Sports conference and event, right? So we did the conference first, led by our youth, and then we did the event a few weeks later. So conference went off without a hitch. Done, success. When we went to implement the event, unfortunately, the game plan, which is step number 9, had to be altered. But what saved it was step number 8, which was the on-site training. It was designed to be a duathlon event outside, but it was this smack in the middle of August, which is extremely hot here in Maryland. And so it was a code 9, which is, it was a code red. And so when it's code red, all activities outside are suspended. Man, and so now we're like, what do we do? Where do we go? Ding, ding, ding. But because we had done on-site training a few weeks ahead of time, we were able to go in, bring the staff together along with our team, identify an alternate plan, because in the execution of the training or the event, the youth were supposed to be on teams of 2 to 3. At that point, because of the COVID day, some parents didn't send their kids to the summer camp, and so we needed alternatives. So because the staff was already on board, excited, they stepped right in and they now became a part of the event. Success, huge smash, woo, sound alarms. It was a hit. It did exactly what we wanted to do, and it increased the quality of our program. They understood that we not only had a game plan, but we could pivot, and all of those things that was needed to not just pilot the program, but to go on to produce an award-winning international program that's now being used today. My question to you, viewers, my questions to you, nonprofit leaders and entrepreneurs and small business owners, how many of you actually do a SWOT analysis? Give me a 1 in the chat. Wait, okay, 1, bing, 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 boom, great. If you're not currently doing a SWOT analysis or don't know what it is, guess what? That's okay. We all had to start somewhere. How many people actually have created or read or used contractual agreements or MOUs? If so, give me a 5 in the chat. All right, we see Veronica down there. All right, we see Becky, Q. All right, so some people are familiar with it. How many people actually conduct on-site training prior to game planning or implementation of your program, your product rollout, or the service that you're providing? Give me some love. Wait, where are the hands at? Okay, there we go. Great. That means that you have some familiarity of having these steps as a part of your process, your framework, your blueprint, or your system. And guess what? If you weren't familiar with this prior to this step 2 of this training, it's okay, but it's no excuse moving forward, because here's what we know is that we have to get out of this hamster wheel cycle as to why our businesses are not growing. And our businesses are not growing because there are a lot of leaders that are actually managing and not really being able to break apart to really implement what they want, because there is a lack thereof. And so here's what I have for you today. If you're that individual that may not know what a SWOT analysis is, or have yet to conduct one on your personnel or your staff or your organization, your product, your service, or your program, if you have not created a contractual agreement or MOU or need help with it, if you are not quite sure what organizational type that you need to align with for that program, products, or service success and pilot program, if you're not quite sure of how to conduct on-site training or what it should look like, or develop that game plan and that backup plan in case of crisis, I want you to give yourself a gift today. And that gift is texting the word makeover to 443-267-8783. It's a gift for you, which is makeover. And don't forget your name, your email, and your phone number. We often get replies from people, no name, no email, but we do get the phone number and we be calling back like, who this? Unprofessional. Text makeover to 443-267-8783. Include your name, your email, and your phone number. And so I have some closing thoughts as I wrap up this quick deep dive training that I want you to be sure that I want you to keep in mind. And to get in touch with me right away, you can also visit our website at www.urbanmultisportconsultant.com. But those aren't my final thoughts. My final thoughts are simply this. In order to ensure success in self, your organization, those who you are trusted to serve, and those that want to serve underneath of you, you need a blueprint, a process, a framework, and or system to business, sales, money, finances, and the list goes on, and just basic business acumen. And when you're able to do that, you're gonna start attracting clients more. You're going to increase sales. You're going to build your support team. You're going to build community relationships and partnerships. You're going to increase your value proposition. You're going to be able to scale your business, launch grassroots initiatives. You're going to set yourself apart from your competitors because you are going to be demonstrating quality, quality, quality versus quantity, quantity, and quantity. And as a researcher, as a doctoral holder, I can only continue to stress the importance of research, evaluation, assessments, and data, because data drives change. Change drives transformation, and transformational drive success. And so if you're looking to change the status quo, change not just your bottom line, but those that you said that you wanted to impact, but you thought that you couldn't because you were stuck, get unstuck. Text 443-267-8783. Include the word makeover in your response. Put your name, your number, and your email. A member of my team will reach out to you. They'll include a survey because we want to understand what your needs are, and we want to be a part of your winning team. And that's all I have. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself. By the way, my name is Dr. Takima Dorsey, Senior Consultant at DTD's Urban Multi-Sport Consultant Firm, where we provide personal development and business growth training to nonprofits, small businesses, and entrepreneurs so that you can be a resource to the urban market. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Until then, have a great and fantastic week. Peace out, people.